Welcome back to AI Verdict, where we do the research so you don't have to. If you watched the Google I/O 2026 keynote and you're wondering what is actually worth your time, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to cut right through the marketing hype today and trace through every single major announcement from the event. We want to find out what actually works and, honestly, what you should probably just skip. My goal in this explainer is to give you that clear reality check you need to navigate these massive updates. So here is our ultimate breakdown of everything Google announced. We'll be covering 1. The agent shift. 2. The Gemini 3.5 Flash controversy. 3. The surprise hit, Omni. 4. Devs and everyday apps. 5. The lightning round. And 6. The final verdict. Let's just dive right in. Section 1. The agent shift. Okay, so before we look at any specific tool, we really have to talk about the massive pivot Google is making here. If you had to summarize the entire I/O keynote in one word, it would be agents. The fundamental difference now is how we actually interact with AI. Think about last year. Gemini was basically a chatbot, right? You typed a prompt, it gave you text back. Now Google is shifting its focus entirely toward agents. These are systems designed to take persistent action for you across your digital life. Drafting emails, writing code, editing videos, even doing your shopping. They are actively putting AI into every single corner of your day, literally from your inbox to your shopping cart. But here's the catch. An agent is only as good as the model running it. So we have to see if the engine powering this massive shift actually delivers. Section 2, the Gemini 3.5 Flash controversy. Gemini 3.5 Flash is being pitched as the core engine powering this whole agentic shift. And what's really interesting is how absolutely incredible this model looks on paper. Just look at these specs. You've got a massive 1 million token context window, which means you can feed it an entire small novel and it keeps the whole thing in mind. It's got full multimodal input across text, image, video, and audio. It even introduces 4 thinking modes: minimal, low, medium, and high, so you can balance speed and reasoning depth. And the speed? It's reported to be 4 to 12 times faster than comparable models. Honestly, if you're just looking at the spec sheet, this feels like an absolute slam dunk. But in reality, the community is absolutely roasting it. I mean, this brilliantly illustrates the immediate disconnect between Google's flashy keynote marketing and the actual boots-on-the-ground developer experience. Look at this breakdown. 60% of early community reactions are flat-out negative, with only 20% positive. The moment developers got their hands on this engine, the hype completely vanished. Why? Well, the complaints basically all circle back to 2 massive issues: cost and quality. The biggest shock for users right now is the cost. Just look at this number. Developers running benchmarks found that running similar workloads on the new Flash 3.5 costs roughly 5.5 times more than the older Flash models. To put that into perspective, you're jumping from around $892 to over $1,500 for the exact same benchmark suite. If you were relying on older Flash because it was highly economical, you are suddenly paying premium prices for what a lot of people consider a marginal or even negative bump in quality. And speaking of quality, when you combine that steep price jump with a real struggle in open-ended reasoning, you get this fantastic quote from early testing. Users have dubbed it a hallucination machine gun. Because it's so incredibly fast, users are finding it just fires off absolute nonsense at record speeds when pushed into creative or nuanced tasks. Now, to be fair, it still shines brilliantly on strictly contained, well-specified coding tasks. But for general open-ended work, it is stumbling hard right now. Section 3. The surprise hit, Omni. So while Flash is drawing all these complaints, a completely different tool from the same keynote is getting a totally different reception. Gemini Omni is receiving near universal praise across the community. This is a multi-model generation and editing model, and the headline feature here is conversational video editing. Imagine taking your footage and instead of scrubbing a timeline or messing with keyframes, you just chat with the AI. You can say, hey, turn the background into a snowy mountain, or make that mirror ripple like liquid. Omni does it, and it preserves character consistency and physics, which is exactly where AI video usually fall apart. Plus, Google built in a trust layer. Every single output gets a Synth ID watermark, so you can always tell it's AI generated. It is a massive, massive win for creators. Section 4. Devs and everyday apps. Let's unpack how developers and everyday users are experiencing these new tools, starting with Anti-Gravity 2.0. This is Google's agentic coding environment, and it is a major step up. Ironically, this runs on the heavily debated Gemini 3.5 Flash, which actually proves that when Flash is given a really focused task, it performs beautifully. The highlights here are native voice commands right in the new desktop app and an incredibly impressive agent orchestration system. Developers can spawn, chain, and coordinate multiple sub-agents in parallel. Google actually demoed splitting a workload across 93 simultaneous agents just to build an operating system. They also added this clever feature that actively interrogates your requirements before writing a single line of code. Over on the consumer side, we have the absolute wild card of the event, Gemini Spark. This is definitely Google's most ambitious announcement. Spark is a 24/7 personal AI agent running on dedicated cloud VMs. And get this, it has persistent access to your entire Google ecosystem, your Gmail, Docs, Drive, and Calendar. You can literally email it directly or call it up through a new Android Halo status bar. Now, some people are calling this the ultimate productivity dream, but it is simultaneously raising massive privacy red flags. Users are understandably pretty nervous about granting an AI persistent, unchecked access to their entire digital life. And what about the everyday workspace apps? Well, the main Gemini app got a really nice cosmetic facelift called Neural Express, alongside a handy new opt-in daily brief feature that summarizes your day using your calendar and emails. But the new workspace AI image generator, Google Pics, is currently failing hard. The expectation was that we get great visual mock-ups for docs and slides. The reality? Testers are reporting that when it comes to generating human faces, the results are quote-unquote horrifying. On top of that, Google introduced voice editing directly in Docs and Gmail. While it's fantastic for accessibility, it's raising immediate concerns about a dangerous lack of proofreading before you accidentally hit send. Section 5, the lightning round. We're going to speed through these 3 major updates. First up, Universal Cart. It's an agentic shopping tool that tracks prices and does one-click checkouts across the web. Super cool, but skeptics are terrified that Google's ad-driven model means it might not actually recommend the best deals for you. Second, intelligent eyewear. These are new Android XR glasses offering live translation and AR overlays. Technically amazing for sure, but the immediate question from the community is, will these look normal enough to actually wear in public? And finally, AI mode in search. Google is adding generative UI and infographics directly into the search box. Tech fans love the convenience, but it is being heavily criticized by folks warning that this will completely gut publisher traffic. Section 6, the final verdict. So, what do the experts think? Well, the industry is completely divided on this whole agentic shift. On one hand, you have Google's Demis Hassabis hyping the mind-blowing potential for developer productivity. On the other hand, you have OpenAI's Sam Altman offering a much more skeptical view on the pivot from chatbots to agents, basically just saying, we'll see how much users care. It beautifully captures this fundamental debate over whether Google has actually read user demand correctly here. So, cutting through all the hype and the doubts, here is your actionable AI verdict game plan. If you are a developer, try Anti-Gravity 2.0 this week. It is fantastic for focused coding tasks. If you are a creator, drop whatever you are doing and play with Gemini Omni for video editing right now. But for everyone else, and that includes Gemini Spark, Google Pics, and the broader 3.5 Flash updates, just give it a few weeks, wait on the sidelines, and let other people find the bugs first. Now, I've got to know what you think. Let us know in the comments, are you Team Flash, or have you already reverted back to your old models after seeing the costs and the hallucinations? Drop your answers below and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more hands-on AI tests where we'll be putting these specific tools through real workflows. Thanks for joining this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.